This is getting welded in solid out of sheet metal, but we have to make sure we have enough room to service the A-arm and be able to get the A-arm out of there. It mounts behind here. Normally on these, when they're solid like this, the A-arm's mounted on the outside. So we have to leave an access hole big enough to get the A-arm out of. So that's what I'm trying to figure out now. You're going to need to be able to unbolt that and get it out of here because the fender well doesn't come out. So we're just kind of, obviously we're going to radius it all to clean it up. We're just trying to figure out, because it gets broke right here. So it actually gets broken in this way and then it goes straight up. So we get more room up here, but it has to get, and it's getting welded all the way to here because none of this unbolts. It's all unibody. So there's no reason for these to come out. And it's part of the structure. So figuring all this out is make it in paper first. Trying to make the cutout to get the A-arm out not look weird is part of the problem. You know,
it's gotta look cool and it's gotta add strength, right?
Yep, that is it. But yeah, the biggest thing is it has to look good as well, so you can't just, you know, not be able to get the A-arm off. So that's a big deal. So we're dropping down here and we've changed this. The fender bolts on here. There's no lip. There's no lip on the fender. The bolts right here, you'll see no bolts. The fender actually mounts like this from the side. So this will be clean all the way back to the firewall. There's no, normally there's a flange and bolts right here. That's all going away. So it'll be real smooth. So you'll just have this smooth edge into the fender smooth edge, and the fender will stick out, you know, and go to the headlights. So there's no bolts. The bolts are actually coming in from the side. Makes it real clean, makes it a pain to build, but it'll look good. It'll look good. If it's easy, everybody do it.
Yeah, what are these things?
They're basically just panel holders. They leave a little big gap for TIG welding, but you can TIG weld it up. But it basically makes two flat planes, so you know that they're level here. And then in between these, as you're tacking it, you'll have to come along and make sure they stay flat. Otherwise it'll be all, you know, look like a river, all wobble.
Surf down it. Yeah, those are cool.
Yeah, they're like cheesy little things, but they work. You know, there's a piece of metal that goes in between them, and they're basically for when you're butt welding panels. It leaves you a gap to weld up. It's a little wide for TIG welding, but you can weld it.
They still work.
They still work. You definitely get good penetration because you have a pretty good gap there. So it gets through both sides for sure. Just cheesy little things that they give you a good gap to weld, and then now where that clamp and that clamp and that clamp and that clamp are, they're perfectly flat. So the only parts you really have to worry about is in the middle. So you'll basically clamp that up flush when you tack it, and then once you get it all tacked, you go back and finish weld it. So you just kind of jump around, but these hold you where you need to be. It's a third hand basically, you know. Instead of you pulling up and down and trying to do both, it holds it there for you. And I mean, they don't cost a lot. And They definitely help. Some people use them, some people don't. I like it just because it stays there now.
Yeah, makes sense to me. If it works, use it.
And you can clamp it in and you can fit it and you can come back and you can play with your lines and fit everything, and it kind of always goes back in the same spot. So, but yeah, no, I like them.
Very cool.
Some people hate them. I like them. They are kind of a pain in the butt. You can only do this when you can get to the backside.
Yeah.
Because there's a bar in the backside that when you sandwich it, pinches it.
Mm-hmm.
So on a blind panel, you
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to use them. So, but on this, we got, plenty of room. We haven't filled it in yet, so we're good. It does work. Noise. Lots of loud noises. I like loud noises.
I do. I like sparks and noises.
Sparks and noises.
Gotta give the people what they want.
Gotta please the masses. They can make their own sparks and noises.
They can.
They can. That's why they're watching us. They want to learn how to do it.
That's right.
So this, basically everything in here is going to have a radius. This is going to have a radius. All this has a radius. And then this sharp corner here will also have the same radius as this, only backwards. I have one. So this corner will have that radius in it all the way up. So there'll be no 90-degree sharp corners. Everything's going to be basically molded in, but we're doing it with metal rather than filler. So this will all be round all the way down to there, and then it'll be around behind the hinge, and then this is going to have a round edge. We don't know exactly yet, and then it's going to have a return underneath that's round also. So we're getting rid of all the sharp corners on the engine compartment everywhere. So it's a lot of work, but it'll be super cool when it's done.
It'll look good.
Well, it's actually the whole front piece, but this is just a part. It's going to go here, and it will have this same radius all the way around it, and then this part will be removable, so you can get into here.
That's going to be the overflow and air filter.
Air filters in this side, overflow, dryer, and puke tank will be in this side. So everything will be hidden. So real sanitary, real clean. Basically, we want it to look like it doesn't run, but it does. So all the wires will be hidden. All the hoses will be as hidden as much as you can. Yeah, we want it to look like it doesn't work. But I get it. I think it's awesome. We want people to wonder how it runs. Alright, so we are looking like we need to cut the top off. basically, if that needs to come over a little bit, which it does, I'll probably just stretch it right there. Yeah, neat. See how that gap there? That needs to close up, so don't put it in a bind. You have to stretch. You have to stretch that area right there.
Stretch that and it'll pull that over.
Stretch that, and it'll pull that over. So. So I'll put this right here. See, one hit, and it grabs basically the metal and pushes it apart. See? See how it pulled it over right there? Not near as bad. See them open up? It don't.
A little bit.
Yeah, it don't take much. Yeah. See now? It's getting better. So we'll tweak that a little because it's probably flattened out. Yeah. Let's see. And then we'll shorten that and get that fitted in there where it goes. And then you know, and this is going to move in and out because it's actually not tied to anything yet. So once we get this, we know this is straight because it's basically broke that way. So this metal will actually pull up to it, and then this panel will be straight like that is. Everything kind of works off of itself. So, all right, we will clean that up and shorten it. Should be good.
So is this where the air box is going to go?
This is the box for it. Yes. The air tube, basically this thing, will mount right here. This will be made out of metal and be welded to the box, and then there'll be a oval tube come down to it, and then there will be a clamp-on style filter mounted on a bracket that will turn it down this way, and then there'll be a splash guard built inside the wheel well so it can get air through here.
That's cool.
It's a lot of little pieces coming together, but yes, making patterns now to figure out the shape and the radius of the box. And this box will have a reverse flange, and it'll bolt to the wheel well, so this box will be removable because it'll have to be to get the motor out. So this box and that box will look identical, and they'll bolt in, so you'll basically put the motor in, set all the engine in, and then bolt all this stuff up with flush mount screws, and then there'll be a top that goes over this, goes all the way across, and then it'll come off. It'll be radius flanged. It'll have the same radius all the way around here. So, and this will be bead rolled and dolled up and made stiff and pretty. But right now we got to get these in. So. Reverse flange, like on that side. This all has to be removable, but it has to be strong, so there's a reverse flange all the way down around.
Tight on the hardware on the inside.
Yeah, hide all the hardware in here, but it makes it, you know, rigid because it is semi-structural. So
Oh, it's good. Nice work, Joe.
that'll all get, you know, finished welded, and then there'll be a gap for body work and paint added. You know, because there's going to be body work and paint and all that all the way around. That way, everything's not super tight, but does fit. But yeah, it's a lot of little pieces, but that's part of the game. You know, you make the part, and then you got to put the flange on the part to attach it. So, but no, it'll get there. It'll get there. It just kind of grows and evolves as you're doing it. This looks good, so that looks good, and that looks good, and it changes this a little bit, but when it's all done, it'll just be all smooth, no sharp edges, nothing. That'll be good. It'll all flow nicely. You just beat it until it looks like what you want it to look like. That's pretty much what you do. Metal doesn't want to be in this shape, so
Gotta force it.
you just hammer on it until it looks like what you want it to look like. Square corners would be really easy.
Yeah.
But they would look like shit, so. But yeah. And then we'll, once we get done doing all this, we'll mock the front end on here, and there'll be a section that drops down from here all the way out to the edge of the grill, and then have a hole for the latch. And then we're going to make up our own prop sections to hold the hood up. We're going to do our own ones that are clean in the cover. So literally when you walk up, you'll see none of, you know, this will all be metal finished and painted. So literally once you walk up, all you see is the jewelry box, as Scott would say.
Ta-da!
Like magic.
The magic bandsaw.
The magic bandsaw. And then people will probably ask why there's a piece of wood in here.
Yeah, why is that?
When you cut through the metal, it keeps it from jerking it down in the saw.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we made this, so it's pretty tight. But basically what happens here is when you get to this corner, it doesn't want to cut it, so it'll usually yank part of it down in there. So if you put wood in there, it's consumable, you just throw it away when you're done.
Yeah.
But I always put wood in there, because when you're cutting thin sheet metal and the blade's pretty aggressive, when you get to the corner, it'll usually grab that corner and shove it down in the, you know, in the guide.
So it'll give you a straighter cut?
And it gives you a straighter cut, and it doesn't mess the corner up.
Okay.
Just a trick that I learned a long time ago. Because, you know, there's a hole right there. So when you get to that very edge and it's real weak, it'll basically take that corner and pull it down in there. And then, you know, sometimes it hangs up the blade, whatever. But if you put wood in there, when you know, and then if the wood gets a big gap in it right there, you just saw a little deeper and it makes a good clean place. So when you cut through, it doesn't try to grab it and put it down in there. Because sometimes you got this really elaborate piece made, and when you cut it off, it grabs it and screws the end of it up. So then you have to, you know, sometimes start over. But no, that's just a little tech tip for today.
Very cool. Joe's Tech Tips.
Someone will probably ask, why is there wood in there? But it just makes it easier. A little cleaner. So we mounted the overflow tank next to the radiator where it's close, in the box where the air filter is going to be, so it's hidden under this cover. So this cover will be here. I have a cardboard pattern. I'll show you what it's going to look like. Let me get my crap off my head here. So this will be solid, basically all the way out to here, and then there'll be a section off of here that goes out to the grill, but this whole section will be removable so you can get into these boxes and get to the dryer and the overflow tank for the radiator and the fuel tank for the engine. It'll all be hidden in those areas.
Yeah, that'll look good.
So yeah, that'll all be one piece, and then it'll come off with the cover and the hood latch and all of the hood stops and everything will all be under this cover. But we have to figure out the grill situation first and then make it fit that. So, no, it'll look good.
Looking good so far.
A lot of metal work, but that's why we do it. And we got
Yeah,
a
that looks
mock-up.
awesome.
We got a mock-up on there too. I don't know what that's going to look like. But we have some decisions to make. So you could run this all the way to the box and get rid of this space, or we could narrow that down slightly. That's a Charles call. But yeah, we have to build one of those for both sides, and then decide what's happening up here. But I thought that kind of made everything look nicer.
That's gonna look really clean. Oh, it's awesome, Jeff. Very, very nice. And that piece is gonna go all the way across.
We're basically blocking everything off with the fans, so it can pull air just through here, and then that'll return to our top piece. This will get broke, go into a radius on the sides, and then the bottom will be broke. And this will be attached to the radiator, go in with the radiator, and then the side pieces will butt up against it and have the gap for body work and all that stuff.
Doing it.
Okay, so basically welded the sides, welded the center. The center's real thin, so it's stretched to the middle. So we'll have to shrink it in the middle. I can either try shrinking it or cut it in half and let it relax and then retack it, because basically this essentially got longer when you welded it. You see, it puts it in a bind, but it's part of it. You got to chase it. That's a pretty thin section to be welded. I mean, it lays pretty flat, but when you literally pick it up, it tries to stay there. So we cut that, and it'll let it relax and then retap it. But the sides are good. So.
Thanks for watching. If you want to see more build videos like this, help us out by liking, commenting, and subscribing to our channel. And it's a little thing to do, but don't forget to turn on those notifications. If you want to buy merch, go to store.classiccarstudio.com. See you next time.